Let's see, something else I need to point out is we have a machine shop, about 15 or so CNC lathes and stuff like that. And all we do is make our own stuff for what we need. We don't do any outside work, nothing custom. But so our procedure now is, it may be archaic, but what we've developed into is just generating a purchase order from our own internal machine shop. It's kind of a dummy vendor, if you will. But we need to buy raw material, and there's many times outside processes that you mentioned, anodize and things like that we add to it. And we're kind of thinking that this may, instead of doing the purchase order process that we're doing now, we're kind of liking that work order generation
That's the purchase order.
to replace that. It seems like that's where this goes. Am I kind of on track so far?
Yes, very much.
Oh, okay, good. So actually, this might be a good point I'm going to turn it over to someone who's more versed at every aspect. It's what he does all day. I'm more of a financial AR, AP kind of guy, but Jeff here is the guy. He's our purchasing guy and coordinates a lot of the work and generates work for the machine shop. He doesn't work in the machine shop. We have a manager that supposedly handles the workload and determination of what gets made next. But Jeff kind of oversees, based on our inventory levels, what's higher priority. So if that's all right, Greg, I'll let Jeff sit in the chair and take it from there. I think he already has some questions for you.
Okay.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So, when I start to determine what I'm going to order, I do a replenishment report, and all the parts that come up, I got to generate purchase orders to vendors. But with our machine shop, all of those purchase orders that I create for them get received at zero quantity, and I have to manually complete them, close them, whatever, after all the processes are done. I was hoping that the work order would take care of that. So once the work order is complete, that purchase order or work order for the part is now done and closed. Would that be correct?
Yeah.
Does the work order work the same as a purchase order? Will it reflect on the replenishment? Will it show that I have that part on order?
Yes, it does. If we look at, I think I can show you that. Let me just look at this here. Okay, we're going back into this company who does more of the kind of work that you do.
Yeah. So that was all.
Yeah. So what happens is, if we look here, we will see. Okay, here we go. Here is this is a parent work order. Okay, where we have a case here where we have a parent. Okay, and there is a subassembly. So we want to build this component, and we notice that we actually have a subassembly. So, what would happen is if you have some machine component, okay, and it has material requirements, or it's a fabricated component. It's got material requirements, labor to fit and weld it, some subsequent machining operation. That it's enough of a work entity that you want it to have its own work order, because you may do it ahead of time. Later, it may be something that you stock, and you just say, we're going to do 200 of this, so I have them in stock. But there may be the occasion where you're building a part that consumes it where you don't have it, and that was what happened in this occasion. In this occasion, on this work order, we put in a quantity for one, and the system went out and found out that I didn't have any available. But I think if I actually, and we actually are checking that against inventory. So if I go out and I check that against inventory, it's telling me that it wants me to produce this one, and it's created a work order for it. Now, what would happen is if I go out to the work order. The work order actually, this has got all the components that are going to consume on it, all the labor that's going to be consumed on it. In this case, nothing, but it would have the labor and the components. And when I complete this work order, okay, that's going to go back to it will show on the parent work order, which is this one. As soon as that work order is completed, which means that the operator or whoever says, I'm done, completes it, okay, that work order will go from released to completed. Okay.
Where up on the top? Was there like in the 3 dots up top? Is there like a release work order or?
Yeah.
How does that?
Like on these ones, there is a release work order, and you can release with dependencies. So for instance, I'm in a top level work order, and I say, I want to release this. Oh, but look, I've got all these things that are below it that need to be released too. Let's release them all. Or I could just cherry pick and release an individual work order if I chose. Okay, I've got that option. Same thing with purchasing. I can purchase for this work order and all of the work orders that are below it in the hierarchy in order for me to build. So if I've got 4 complex turnings and one of them is using, they're using a couple of different types of material. One's got a nitriding operation that needs to be done on it. So it's got a vendor to a PO to an outside vendor. It's enough of a work segment that I want to break it into its own work order. Okay. What I could do but I can purchase all the material for all of those types of orders that are in this master order. So that's the finished piece of equipment that I'm building with the 20 sub-assemblies in it. I can say, buy everything I need for this and all the sub-assemblies all at once. That's what this chain requirements is. Or if they're long lead time builds, which, some people doing big expensive stuff is like that, I may not want to buy all the material. I may want to go down to that, individual work order and start by doing that first. Okay. And build that first. And so I would then create purchase orders at that point for that order. I could do that. Now, when it's done, it's going to come back and show an inventory, and then it's going to be consumed by this work order. Okay. So when this is finished, this work order will then consume it because, of course, when you build stuff, you build from, in your hierarchy, the bottom to the top. You build the sub-assemblies and finish the main finished goods. So that's kind of our theory.
So now that item is done in the work order, how does it get to the inventory to sell? Is it already, once the work order is complete, it's basically the kit assembly's been done and it's in inventory, that part number?
Yeah, the kit assembly does that. Let's go out and look at one that's finished, and you'll see what happens. Here's one that's completed. Okay, this is completed. So you'll notice if we go out here to the end, okay, you're going out here and you're now seeing this is work that the kit assembly did for us. Remember I said that the kit assembly is doing all that nice work of doing all those financial transactions for us and our inventory transactions as well. So we're now seeing product going in and out of material. We're seeing the cost carried with it and everything like that. So that's all happened. So you'll notice that, we actually had one finished good go into inventory right here. So this particular item went into inventory. So when the work order finished, it was in inventory. If it happens to be a serialized item, then you assign a serial number and then complete the kit, and it's in inventory now. So going back to that work order, when this work order here is depending on 424 needs 425 to be done. Okay, so we would finish 425, and then we would see when this is released or when this is completed. Let's see if it'll complete. If I got enough inventory, I'll be able to complete it. If I go here and I go let's just go in here and we'll go here. We'll say today we're finishing it. I may not have open financial periods. I may have a bunch of problems here. I'm going to finish it. I'm going to build my one here. I'm going to go down here. I got to assign. I got to give it a serial number. Yeah, I got to give it a serial number here. Go and assign a serial number on this finished goods. So line details. Oh, I got to. Oh, anyway, I have to assign all serial numbers on. This is this
Okay.
customer data. It's a highly serialized inventory, but I would basically have to put the finished serial number, and I would have to assign serial numbers, which in your case might be. I'm not sure if you're tracking,
I
heat
see that you're
numbers.
on the kit assembly page now.
Yeah.
Okay, so the work order will be transferred to a kit assembly page. The work order that's complete would transfer to the kit assembly page, and you would release the kit assembly, putting the part into inventory.
Almost the work order does that for you. The work order takes over the kit assembly, and the only thing you can do on a work order is assign serial numbers. You can't change any quantities on the kit assembly. That is being controlled by one of our work orders because we ensure that the sync is right. If you want to make a change on a kit assembly, you go back to the work order, which is this case, this work order, and let's say I've got 6 of these items, and I put 15 on here, okay, and I save it, okay, and this is a released work order now, okay, but if I go to the kit assembly, you'll notice that it's kept that in sync, right?
Right.
So what it does is we're basically just, we're pancaked on top of that kit assembly, and we pretty much had it smothered. The only thing you can do on the kit assembly is issue serial numbers. Now I have this because I'm in a development environment. I've overridden the ability to release a kit assembly. That's why you see release there, but normally it's disabled to most users.
Okay. What's the chances you could share my screen and see what we're doing now and see
Sure.
if there's a how would we do that?
You're on.
So this one?
Well, I don't think he can see that.
Can you see that?
Sure, that'll come in a sec.
Okay.
I'm sorry, excuse me?
Well, Roger's going to share with us here some stuff.
I see.
Well,
Great.
we need to figure out how to do that. Yeah, click that.
So on the bottom of the window for Ring Central, there's a blue
Share.
icon that says share. Click that and then follow the instructions.
Make sure you pick the right screen. If you're on multiple screens, you have to pick the right screen you want to show.
All right.
I guess I need to move back over here.
Yes, do that. That's right here.
Okay.
And slide it over. All the way.
It won't let me.
What?
Oh, your thing right here. Okay. There we go. Make it bigger. And then go back to that. And select this one.
Share.
Beautiful.
That should be.
Okay. So basically, I start off with the purchase order to our machine shop. Let's go there. Boom, purchase orders. And let's see if I can find the DMS one right here. So right here, I need our machine shop to make this finished part. This finished part will have raw material, aluminum, and then there will be plating to it, and then there will also be, let's go to the kit spec. Kit specifications.
Might want to open that in a new tab.
Yeah, it's probably not showing as one of your favorites, so you probably got to hit show all.
Okay, show all. Come on. We're doing it? No.
Just in the search box, type specifications in the search. It'll show.
There we go. I got it.
You got it? Okay.
Yeah. And where is the element, the kit specifications?
There it is. Under profiles, yeah.
Under profiles.
Left side.
Kit. There we go. Okay, so
He's using it under my profile, so it's lined up different.
I don't see it the same way. Let's go with the 600-38, the part instead. It's a little bit more complex. See all of these items right here? Why is it not showing the raw material ones? Actually, so we have 4 parts to this one item that have to be 3 parts machined and 1 part is off the shelf. And then it all gets welded together. So we make extras of some things that, if I'm going to order 100 of them, some of the items we'll make 200 of. So I need to have the raw material with the labor into the finished part, the sub part, and then I'll take 100 of that sub part and put it with the other ones to make the completed item with labor from our machine shop and the welding. So, and then once all that is done, I go to the kit assembly, and all those items, I got to have enough quantity to build what I need to build. And from there, it goes to the finished part in Acumatica. We can sell it.
Yeah.
So then after that, we have to go back to that purchase order and close it manually without receiving anything against it. I was hoping the work order would take care of that one step.
It will.
Of completing that and closing out the work.
It will. It will. It does that. And you won't have the POs, because if you actually do have to buy something, like you said on the one of those 4 items, one was an outside service or outside, raw material that you bought or a component part. When you bring that in, just the act of bringing that in and receiving it is going to finish the PO. So that's going to happen naturally. But on those other labor items that you have to close those 3 POs without completing them.
You don't do a labor PO.
Yeah.
Because the labor is internal.
Yeah. It works. It works. It's a little messy, but kudos
we
to
put
you
the
guys.
non-stock. We do a non-stock labor for DMS labor, which would be in here, which we would have in this component. But this is our top level for one of our machines, and there are some sub-assemblies in there. There's probably about 20 of them that have to be built before that. But this is everything that it takes to build one of our pieces of equipment.
Right.
A lot of these things are machined parts from our machine shop.
Let's see.
And how big, how big a run do you do when you're doing these?
We're not quite there with GitHub. We're getting there.
I'll order like 200 of these, 250. Same here. If it takes one, usually I'll order 2 to 250.
Yeah.
If it takes 4, 3 pieces, I'll order thousands.
Customization,
especially bearings and so forth. So we have lots of inventory on this item here and these items here. But say like this, like these are all items right here that we manufacture.
Yeah, so we're keeping this.
So we use the kit assembly with the labor included as non-stock to get the parts into inventory.
Just create your own and put it under upgrade list and put Matt's, name it or whatever and put him in there.
Yeah. No. There's something else I'd like to show you based on what I see here. Can I show it to you?
You betcha. Go ahead and take over.
That might be useful. So, I'm going to show you this.
Thank you so very, very much. Appreciate it. All right. Take care.
Okay.
I'll talk to you a little bit later. I'm on a demo right now. Bye-bye.
Okay. So we have, where am I here? If I go to our production planning system, now I'm not sure if you have it, but I can go in and I can create a new production plan. And so I'll just, and I can create an item on it here. So I'll put an item that's let's say it's a subassembly. Okay. I think if I put some item that's in a subassembly, and I'll just pick a revision number. Oh, hang on. It's got to be a finished good. So I'll pick 1, 2, no, 1, I'll pick a subassembly. I don't know this data well enough. And I say, what's my forecast method? I've got a couple of methods. I can go linear regression. I can say, where do I want my data to? Well, that linear regression is kind of a heavier weighted average. It sort of looks out over a 12-month period. It's looking over, when's our planning period start? So I'm going to say, look at data all the way back to 1996 to today, or to February 1st, right? So you can look at a planning period monthly data, and you can say, I want you to look at manufacturing data, okay, for this part, okay? And then you can say that what I'd like you to do. So it's going to look over that period, and then I'd like you to say, calculate me a forecast. So what did it say here? It said historical data count is less than 1. Okay, so let's go through and pick something we'll have here. Okay, and let's calculate a forecast for that. Oh, anyway, it's not the right data here. I wish Freddie were here. Freddie knows this data set. Let's see, I think a 510. There's some in here that are good here. I don't know these guys' stuff real well.
We've all say component parts, would that still be a...
Yeah, they're all component parts. Let's just see if I can find a subassembly here. You know what? Let's go back and find a subassembly here. If I look on this one, I had a subassembly. So my subassembly is a 310. Got to write this number down. 253. Okay. Let's go back to our production planning system. Okay, we're on that one here. Let's pick 310. 253. Okay, and I want a revision number. Pick that revision number. Okay, we'll save that. And my planning period that I want to start is, this is for going forward. So I want to plan from 2023, March 1st to 2024, February 29th. Okay. Okay, I'm going to do that. Now I'm going to say, I want you to search all the manufacturing data. So that's going to run out and look at all the work orders that we've done and kind of figure out, using this linear regression method, how many I've done. So I can calculate my forecast, and it'll go out and it's looking at all that now. Now this is coming up with quantities per month that it expects me to build, okay? So it's gone out and it's looked at that. And so it'll even...
1, 2, 3. There's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, January, February, March, April?
No, they're the periods that start after my planning period. So this is March, okay, April, May, June, July, August.
Gotcha.
So what I can say now is, I can say, how many periods do I want to generate? I can go in here and I can say, okay, 2 periods. So this has now become my master production schedule. Okay. So this is now, I'm saying that, okay, I want to release 2 periods, but they're yellow because I haven't released any. If I just say I want to release 1 period now, and I go like this, okay, and I say, okay, generate a work order. Okay. It will have generated a work order for me. Now it's telling me that
work order?
You go back out to the production order system. You look in here, and here's a production order that was built on this production planning system, right? PP stands for the demand reference type, is from a production plan. There's the plan type right there. If I go in, and there is my order for 10. I mean, you saw it would round it to 9. So obviously they're eaches, so it knows you can't build anything less than you can't build part of an each. And so it's basically created a production order for here. And now If this had subassemblies, when I went through the process, it would do that. But now, see, here's where you come in, where we're talking about our stages of production order. I could release 4 or 5. I could create 4 or 5 production orders for 5 months out. And then what I can do is they're all in a planning stage. So I may want to say, work-wise, money-wise, how much labor is that? How much consumables or components is that? What's our outlay going to be? What are we down the road? What do we got to plan for? And so it'll give you some kind of an idea by having these production orders on the books, because it'll ultimately aggregate this and all of the other production orders that you may have in the system and figure out how much that is against your financial capacity and against your machining capacity, your manufacturing capacity. You want to know what it adds up to. So it's done that. Going back to the production order, if we go back to the production order, okay, I can now say, I can put it on hold, okay? I can calculate the forecast again. Things may have changed, okay? I can go through here and say, I want to generate, I'm going to release the next 2 in my master production schedule, okay? And then I'll just say generate the work orders, and it'll go through, and it'll generate the next work orders in my master production schedule. Now, I can be manual if I like, okay? And I can actually delete these work orders if I want, okay? I can actually put it on hold, okay? And I forget what I have to do, but I have to do something here to delete the work orders. But I can delete these work orders if I don't like this production schedule. Say, for instance, I want to roll it back. But I can also export this to Excel, okay? And then I can play with it in Excel, and I can import it back in, and then it will release my production orders.
Right.
So
now, let's say you did that first month, and you generated a work order, and does that generate purchase orders or more work orders or more purchase orders for raw material?
It can, okay? If we go back to the system that we have here, if we go back to our production requirement system, okay, I can actually look at this. I can say, show me the planned orders that I have here, okay? So I want to say for that particular warehouse, pick that warehouse. Okay, and I think these are probably the ones that I did for it. Let's just look at them, make sure it's the work orders that I want it to be. No, where are those work orders? Include planned work orders, so it should be showing me released, planned.
I think he left it on hold.
I see a planned one, third one down.
Hang on. I know the problem. These work orders are in the planning stage. So let's just say, okay, we're getting a little more serious about them. Let's just take it off hold, because it's on hold when it comes out of the production planning system. Let's complete the planning.
Excuse me, Greg and Roger and team. I've got a 10 o'clock, so I'm going to just log off of this meeting, Greg, and then it's okay when you're done. Just log off. We've got it recorded,
sure.
and I can provide everything. So,
Sure.
Roger, thank you so much, and your assistant. We appreciate it. And I'm around later this afternoon. I just have a 10 o'clock and an 11 o'clock I have to attend to.
All right. Thanks, Jim.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Okay. Now let's go back to the production requirement system. Okay. And let's look.